staff, pretty much everyone from the city, the staff here at EDC, for helping us out and doing the event, the way that it was handled, the way that it came about. So I want to thank everybody for that. Great event. Uh, next week on Friday, July the 16th, we're having the ribbon cutting at the Cheer Wine and Liquor. There's a, do we have an address on that, Ms. Martha? An address?
Yeah, it's corner of Kansas and Business 83. Used
Kansas
to
and
be
Business
like a
83?
night Stevens house before. It's a wine thing.
So we're having the ribbon cutting. It was scheduled for this Friday. They changed it over to next Friday. So we placed it on the calendar so that you guys can take it with you. If there's anything that comes between now and then, we'll make any changes. We'll let you all know about any changes on that ribbon cutting. And also the just within your agenda packet, there's a calendar of events. Again, if anything comes up between now and then, we'll let you all know. There's another piece of great information that I received today. I'll discuss it with you in executive session. And that's all I have, Mr. Vice.
Mayor Pro Tem, yes, I'd like to.
Go ahead.
First of all, this was a great celebration, 4th of July. And like many people said during the celebration, it seemed like it's getting bigger and bigger, which is something really good for our community. One thing I'd like to recommend is if board members have or would like for family members to participate, I'd like to have that considered next year. Another thing, the ribbon cutting for the Cheer and Wine Liquor, that's another great project because we've been focusing on downtown revitalization for a long time. So it's good that slowly but surely we are seeing our downtown revitalized. In addition to that, I was reviewing the agenda and I was comparing it to that we received June 24th for a Thursday meeting, June 24th. It's my understanding, Ms. Martha, that you get together with Mr. Arjona and you prepare this agenda, is that correct? Okay. I specifically asked to make sure that these items that are listed on the 24th meeting be on today's meeting, is that correct? Okay. Did you communicate that, Mr. Arjona?
However, one of the things that we have is it should be a couple of people making the request, and the only person that about this, I said, let me put it in executive session first, and then if anything changes, we can put it on the outside.
Where did you receive this information? Because I've been through the bylaws back and forth. And unless you have another document that pretty much guides the EDC, I don't see anything there that specifically states a couple of people need to submit requests.
Right, and it's that's always been the practice, Mr. Contreras.
Always been two, hasn't it?
And also the chairman has the discretion whether to put it at the next available meeting or the next future meeting, which in this case, we agree that let's put it on executive session first, and then in the next following meeting, we can put it on the outside as requested. You requested it.
Right. So, because something has been practiced doesn't necessarily meet the bylaws expectations, which we should be expected to follow. So again, you based your decision on not complying my request because it's been practiced before that two people asked for items?
Right, and not only that, there was the also the fact that the chairman has the final say so as to what goes on the agenda.
Again, in the bylaws, I went through it back and forth. And unless you can show me otherwise, I don't see that.
Hold on, if I interject, can we discuss it since it's not on the agenda?
Right, so I'm trying to see where you don't have an item on that specifically to discuss on when something goes on the agenda. Generally speaking, you can discuss parliamentary procedure and regarding items on whether they're making
Which
them their way
falls
or
in that
not.
context right
So,
now.
right.
Okay.
So, I mean, to a limited extent, you can discuss the parliamentary procedure and procedure on an agenda, but it wouldn't, you know, you're sort of approaching the limit at this point, just whether something was put or not. generally speaking, Mr. Contreras, I do have to say that the chairman of the board ultimately controls the agenda. And so even when items are requested and they are put there, whether it's by one or two, I haven't seen your bylaw specifically, but the Open Meetings Act does allow the chairman of any public board to control the agenda. That being said, it doesn't give them the authority to remove an item and completely eliminate it. It does say that it must be placed at that meeting or in the near future is a specific language according to the,
Robert Rules of Order. That's what
no, according to the Open Meetings Act.
Open Meetings
So
Act.
it falls into place if in proximity. It doesn't have to be that one, but it can be
The language that's used is
Language-
at that meeting or in the near future.
near future.
Right.
Okay.
And the Attorney General, the Attorney General has opined on in the near future, he's allowed 2 or 3 meetings.
Which states, which falls in line with what he's saying. If we decide it and put it back on and we go back into executive, we just put it back on?
Right, if the request is not withdrawn, the request stays on the table. And if the request is for it to be an open session,
So we come
just
back and
because you
put it
put
on.
it in a closed session, doesn't mean it expires the request.
Okay.
The request still stands.
Mr. Ramirez, real quick, Mayor
Yes,
Pro
sir.
Tem.
I apologize, Mayor, I just wanted to make sure.
And I want to be clear. I'm requesting, I'm speaking about this in his director's report. So as part of his duties and responsibilities is to report to us what he has done throughout, from the last meeting to this meeting. This was part of the request that I made, was communicated, and he chose not only to move the request I made in one, but also leave out another item. So that's the reason why I'm.
Yeah, no, and like I
speaking
said,
about
and
this.
the conversation is not inappropriate. It falls also within the parliamentary and procedure aspect of a meeting, whether items are there or not. Generally speaking, you know, it is a fine line when we discuss the items or we discuss the procedure of items. And so in this case, you know, if a request is made, whether 1 or 2, and I'm not seeing your bylaw, so I would have to go look at that. At the end of the day, the chairman of the board would be the one to decide to put it in or not.
Mr. Ramirez, I can assure you, I've been through the bylaws back and forth. There is no such thing that exists that 1, 2 members need to submit verbally or in writing, or that we need the chairman's permission. I can assure you, I've been through it back and forth. That's why I'm asking Mr. Arjona to show me where it states that.
So the chairman's discretion wouldn't be, I don't know that it would be found in your bylaws. It would be the Texas Open Meetings Act that governs board meetings of any public entity. So they
Going
govern.
back, and again, going back, which states in the near future, so it could still be,
Right.
it falls into place in that
So,
timeframe.
right, so a chairman cannot extinguish an item.
Okay, but
The
you can
chairman has to
absolutely-
put it on, whether at the meeting requested or in the near future.
So it can be on the next meeting.
Let's say, for instance, Mr. Contreras, what he's trying to say, if he puts it in the agenda, and if we need another to vote it on or whatever. But as far as the chairman, if the chairman says, it has to be approved by the chairman, right?
The agenda has to be approved by the chairman, that's correct, yes.
So just to clarify this, Mr. Arjona, Mr. Arturo Fajardo Jr. asked you not to include item number 3 under section 6 last meeting, and to move item number 4 under section 6 last meeting into executive session. Is that what he asked you to do? Okay, do you see the difference there?
Right, but ultimately, Mr. Fajardo, if he can make the recommendation to Mr. Fajardo as to what he wants
Oh, we go
to
with the
put on there,
recommendation of our-
but ultimately it's approved by Mr. Fajardo. So if he accepted his recommendation, then that was Mr. Fajardo's discretion to accept Mr. Arjona's
Did
recommendation.
Mr. Fajardo accept your recommendation, Mr. Arjona? Did Mr. Fajardo accept your recommendation? Okay, let me ask you this now. Knowing this, why would you not communicate this with a board member that requested the items? Myself. Mr. Fajardo, the chairman did not request these items. I did. Why would you not give me a call, send me an email, communicate what you recommended to Mr. Fajardo? Why would you not communicate that to me?
Apologize for that, I'll make sure I'll do that next time.
And then if you're gonna do any changes, then you need to advise everything will work.
I agree. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you very much, because I've specifically have had meetings with you before. And quote unquote, this is what you've said to me. I do not like to be micromanaged. Exactly.
Right, so at this point, we're out of the realm of the procedure we're looking at, right? If we want an agenda item to, for example, evaluate or do whatever, then that has to be addressed in that manner. In terms,
Addressing the executive,
you can,
it's not even on there, right? So we
you have
can't-
I mean, you have items in executive.
I can elaborate that. No?
So should we
But-
just move into
Well,
executive
yeah,
session at this point?
you have an item in executive here.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem,
Right,
I
yeah,
make a motion to
correct.
go into executive session to further discuss item number 2 in executive session, which states.
Yes, let's go. Second.
Been a motion made to go into, to get offline? Is that a motion made?
Seconded already.
And there's a second by.
Yeah, if you have a motion and a second, you have to continue
all in
the
favor?
discussion or.
Well, actually, they want to move it back to.
Right.
Okay. I have a motion made by Mr. Contreras, a second by Mr. Mark Villegas. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we're gonna be, going into executive session, which you're gonna be skipping to item number 8. I have to read it out, don't I? I'm sorry? I have to read it out? Yeah. Motion for, to reconvene.
Second.
Except on, executive session. There's been a motion made by Mr. Guajardo, a second by, Mark Villegas. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, we're gonna go back to the regular agenda, which will be, item number, actually from number 5, actually number 6. Discussion and possible action in the following matters.
Yes, I'm sorry. This is an item that was submitted, mini grant for Yadira's drive-through. They're property owners. They're asking for a couple of $1,000s. However, ahorita, at this point, we don't have any monies in that particular line item. I brought it forward to you guys so that you can guide us. Do we allow it? What we need to do pending a budget amendment? But at this point, we have no more monies for this type of, sponsors. Or mini grants, I'm sorry.
We do,
How much are they asking for, Mr. Luna?
Couple of, 2,000.
do we, and it needs to be, well,
A budget,
Budget amendment, but that'll be the wish of the, we can move some money, but that'll be the wish of the board.
that would be the same for 2 and 3, if that's the case, or?
How long will it take if we wait to the next budget?
That's October.
Right?
I think for the mini
first.
grant, we should. 4 months away. 4 months away. Is that too long?
Obviously, what we need to do is make sure we consider increasing the amount for next year.
Do we have funds that, another line items that we're healthy?
That we could-
It's doable?
It's doable? Okay.
You don't have funds there, you would need a line item to do a budget amendment, right? So you'd have to essentially bring it back.
I was asking them to guide us whether you want to put it on there, we just have a budget amendment to it.
Table it?
We can table it, bring it back.
Because we're gonna come back with a new
With the information of.
line
budget
item.
amendment.
Yeah, so you can approve contingent, a budget amendment at the next meeting.
I'll go ahead and contend in that and try to make a budget amendment for the next meeting.
There's a motion, on the table.
Okay.
There's a second made by Mr. Villegas. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Item number 2, sir?
Item number 2, discussion of possible action, if any, on sponsorship promotional for the 15th annual DHR Fishing for Hope Tournament. Again, within your packet, you have that, the promotion. There is funds available. We have 2650 in that particular line item.
What's the average sponsorship?
Last year, we gave 1,500, but that was last year.
What's the one below that, sir?
How much was last year?
We only have 260, we have some other people.
There's a 1,500, 2,500, 4,000, and the 6,000. Last year, we participated with 1,500. 15, yeah, which is the bronze sponsor.
Something that's, we do, something we do all the time.
Something with all of
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minimum, the 15.
Motion been made by Mr. Villegas.
Second.
Second by Mr. Guajardo. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All opposed, I'm sorry. Motion carries. Number 3.
Action of any on sponsorship, again, promotion on PSJ Bear Football Team Summer Camp. Within your packet, you have that, the flyer that they sent us over. So we're looking at 2,650 minus 1,500. That's 1,150. Martha, do you recall, was it? First time? Okay.
Normally, we have a breakdown of how much has been used on this line item, and just like we did with the money grant breakdown, there's not one for item.
Yes, sir, it's on the previous one.
There's one right in the front, Mr.
Both
Yeah,
of them were
we-
supposed to be together, but we split them.
what are they asking? now?
On which one? On two? Oh, tab. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Is
So
there
the
membership sponsorship on this one?
Well, on this one, the third item, I mean, I think this is the first time we've been doing, we never done
No,
a PJ Bear, camp, football team camp.
not the camp, but we
Not the
could,
camp, I know
something-
we do for.
we'd like to help, though.
This is the first year though, yes.
Yeah, it's the first time, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because we haven't done this long time.
Yeah, how
It
much
does
are
not ask you for tiers or anything, it's just basically sponsor. You said that was 11, so, but we can't exhaust that, so we can go 5.
Have 11,
How much they're asking for?
Or,
Three? Summer camp? It's not heavy. I make a motion to, help on the Bears, summer camp,
How much?
$300.
$300, okay,
300?
second the motion, second.
Motion been made by Mr. Guajardo, second by Mr. Contreras. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
One more thing, just feedback. Whenever we get these kind of requests, can somebody, whomever receives this, whether it's Martha or anybody on the EDC staff, can you please request what has been the minimum donation or monetary donation? Give us a figure so
Yeah,
we
well,
can.
yeah,
base
and I
ourselves.
understand that,
think it's our
Commissioner, because
first
of,
time. We need to
see,
see.
this is the first time they're asking for summer camp. They never had requested anything for this.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Or we did one, not the other.
Yeah, it says there any monetary donations.
Yeah.
But we'll do that.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't say the minimum, so we've already gone through it.
We're just gonna give whatever we said.
Item number 4.
Apologize for that item, Mr. Vice and members of the board. I'd like to maybe table that item. There's 15,000 that were requested as a budget amendment, but we actually need 25. And this is coming from that Craig development on the Taco Palenque. And if you recall, there was a $75,000 contribution back to the 50,000 commitment from the EDC, and he cut it in half, and that was gonna be the commitment from the EDC and also the commitment from the city. However, we're looking at 50,000 for this fiscal year that we have budgeted already, and instead of 25, somehow Ms. Martha in finance, they placed 15 because on the ledger, we still have an additional, I mean, we still have 25,000, but 10,000 of those go to Polo Tires that have already been given out to them, but it hasn't been, it doesn't reflect the ledger. So I like to bring it back with the 25,000 instead of the 15,000.
Tim, one thing I would like to, I'm asking for is provide us those minutes to make sure that, we're complying with, just as backup, that way we have that in place as well, to make sure that, what was approved is what will be executed. One more question, Mayor Pro Tem, here, number 4. Why is it an amendment again?
¿Para qué?
50,000 for this year, and then 50,000 for the following year, 50,000 thereafter. It was only for up to 150. However, we did a sort of an agreement with them that we gave them 75,000, nothing else was gonna be owed to them.
Yeah, I agree to that.
I understand the agreement, but my question is why is it an amendment to the budget?
Because the Pueblo.
On that particular line item.
We didn't project this.
It was
occurring.
50,000 only that we have budgeted, but now it's supposed to be 75. So I don't have enough money there.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
City session, we discussed that. Line item number 1, there was no action. Number 3, no action. Number 2, sorry.
Number 2.
Mayor Pro Tem, I don't know if we missed the consent agenda.
Oh, yes.
Forgot,
Item number 7, the consent agenda, on that.
Approve the minutes.
did we adjourn though?
No.
No, we haven't.
Not yet?
We didn't make it.
Was there a motion and a second?
No, not a second.
Okay.
Motion to approve the following minutes, June 1st.
Second.
There's been a motion by Mr. Contreras, a second by Mr. Villegas. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now we're gonna do it correctly. We'll go back to the actual, follow the line. Items 1 and 2, no actions. Last item was adjournment. You have a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion been made by Mr. Ohio, second by Mr. Contreras. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The meeting will be ending at 8:02.
8:02.
5:30? 5:30?